Good evening. I am Victoria Corona, and this is MNN. First, Hurricane Javier's destruction is imminent for the small island nation of Vanuatu. Hurricane Javier has now been classified as a Category 5 storm and just made landfall not too long ago. More than 3,300 are still homeless from Hurricane Pam earlier this week. The government is attempting to evacuate those on the shore and at low sea level, but Vanuatu's infrastructure remains severely compromised in the wake of the last storm. The most recent projections estimate that Hurricane Javi could claim the lives of hundreds of civilians and down communications for weeks. The Prime Minister left Vanuatu and headed to New York in an attempt to rally international support and humanitarian aid from the General Assembly. Afterwards, he sat down with MNN's own delegates to discuss his country's plight.
Good evening. My name is delegates, and this is the delegates Show. Today we have a fantastic guest for you, His Excellency Joe Natumam of Vanuatu. Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me on your guest show.
Thank you, thank you. Tell me, why are you here in New York City?
I am here in New York City because Vanuatu currently is under threat of a second storm in 2 weeks. First was Hurricane Pam. Most people in the world now have heard of the Hurricane Pam. It has wiped out 90% of infrastructure in my country. It has created a system of lawlessness where looting is rampant. The reconstruction process has not even begun on the first hurricane, and now this Javi is coming and is only one day away from us. And I've come to New York to re-emphasize that we need to have an emphasis on the climate. 2 hurricanes in 1 week, that is not something that we have imagined in our lifetimes. And I also come because I need aid. We need money, we need building supplies, we need manpower, we need ships to reach the outlying islands. Even now, some of the outer islands of our archipelago, they have not even been reached. We do not know if anybody has survived. So we appreciate the help that we have gotten from our neighbors, but this is a world problem and it needs a world solution. So we have had to come to the United Nations to ask for this solution.
Tell me, do you think is the relationship between global warming and the devastation that has occurred in your country?
With due respect, Mr. Derek, I'm going to tell you, if you are not recognizing the intensity of storms with the rising sea temperatures, then you do not understand the basic science. In a basic science, if the water is warmer, more will evaporate. When more will evaporate, more will go into clouds. When more is in clouds, more rain, heavier powers, rising seas. This is how this is working. And this denial of climate change or global warming or whatever people want to say, it is not destroying us now. It is destroying Kiribati now. It is hurting Maldives now and Mauritius now. But what happens in 20 years? When Florida disappears, will the United States please stand up? But they are not coming to stand up right now. Right now they are calling climate change. This is global warming, this is a global problem. And we come as a warning to the world. We do not have ill will towards the United States. They issue good relief for us. But we need to change the attitude in the world that we are going to fix global warming, not just pretend it is something inevitable or not happening at all.
In light of the devastation that your country is facing, how do you feel of its prospects moving forward?
I cannot say to you right now. I am in great fear. With currently 90% of buildings is damaged, and another hurricane is coming. We're not even beginning our recovery from one, and we are already in problem with another coming. I cannot give you a direct answer on this until I've assessed the damage again. I hope that everybody prays to God that He could spare the people of Vanuatu, that we could find a safety, and that our reaction this time is better than what happened in 1 week past. That is all I can say for that.
Mr. President, thank you.
I thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
And I thank your audience for listening.
Thank you.
We have Tree Garcia reporting live from Vanuatu.
I didn't sign up for this. I was told there would be only light rain, and this is a category 5, sir. I mean, even the Prime Minister left this island. Why am I even here? So, do you think I'm here? I know, I just want to go home, you know? I'm gonna tell the union about this, and I'm worried that... Am I here? Oh, okay. Oh, hello, Victoria. This is Chuy Garcia, and I'm reporting live from Vanuatu. I can see like Hurricane Javi. Actually, there's just a giant wall of black as far as I can see over the horizon. There's nobody else outside. I'm not sure what am I even doing here. So please send help. I'm really scared, Victoria. Please, Victoria. I'm telling you, please. Can you hear me, Victoria? Victoria, please.
Oh, that's too bad. Thanks, Chuy. I'm glad you have that umbrella. And now, news from the Middle East. Israel has expanded ground forces into Syria and has officially begun ground incursions into Gaza. It is estimated that Israeli forces in Gaza have already killed 400 civilians. Israeli troops in armor are also headed toward the suburbs of Damascus. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced late yesterday that the Mossad, the Israeli intelligence service, has learned of a nuclear weapon en route through Iraqi territory towards the combat front in Syria. As if the situation wasn't tense enough, MNN has also received word that the nuclear weapon has gone missing and may have been seized by ISIL forces. Ayatollah Khomeini was also able to join us for an exclusive interview earlier today. And joining us tonight for an exclusive interview is the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Your Excellency.
In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful, it is my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Tonight, I'd first like to ask you to interpret the re-election of the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. What are your thoughts regarding that, sir?
History has shown one thing. Even long before Benjamin Netanyahu was a prime minister, he was an officer in the Israeli defenses. And history has shown us one thing, it's that Netanyahu is nothing but a war-hungry dog who will do nothing to stop the genocide of others for the profit of his own ideology. His election is simply a matter of illegitimacy. They would like to lecture us about democracy. But what about a country in which half the people don't have any rights, including the right to vote? How can he claim any legitimacy of rule when he discourages anyone that is not of his ethnicity to rule? 2 decades ago, when I was coming up in the Iranian Revolution, you know what we called that? We called it apartheid, and it's racial segregation. Can any election be legitimate when they marginalize half of their population?
Thank you very much for that response, Your Excellency. I'd now like to ask you, how do you respond to the allegations from Netanyahu that the Islamic Republic has sent a nuclear weapon to the Syrian-Israeli battlefront?
To our enemies who cannot come up with a good reason why they should hate us, the idea of a nuclear weapon is this boogeyman that they continue to bring. You know, nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction, are strictly prohibited in Islam. We do not believe in anything that will deliberately kill civilians. And how many years are they going to bring out this tired old argument about this supposed nuclear weapon for which they have no evidence? Moreover, who are these countries? Who are these countries that would accuse us of nuclear proliferation? It is countries that, the same countries that accuse us of not having democracy. How democratic was the election of Benjamin Netanyahu? How democratic was the election of George W. Bush, who did not even receive more than half of the votes? In Iran, we hold legitimate elections. In Iran, we do not believe in nuclear weapons which kill civilians. Yet, 2 nations, both of which possess nuclear weapons and threaten the world with them, would lecture us about nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction. What legitimacy do they have? None. The fact is, there is only one nation in the world who has used a nuclear weapon against civilians. And yet now they claim some sort of holy mandate for why they should have it, and why they should accuse others and use it as a bludgeon to keep them down just because they don't like their culture, they don't like their way of life, or because we will not submit to their domination.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And just one final question for you tonight. What response do you hope to see from the world in light of these recent events that have transpired?
The fact is that the Islamic Republic of Iran, since the revolution, has only asked for one thing. We ask for nothing special. We ask for no quarter. We ask for no aid. We ask only for one thing. We ask for justice. And where is the justice? When one nation, when one people can continue to occupy the land of another, can continue to denigrate them, kill them, expand upon their land, attack them, belligerent to its neighbors, and yet the world is powerless to say anything for fear that somehow the United States or the Zionist occupiers will be offended. The fact is that there is only one solution to the Middle East, and that is justice. For 25 years we suffered under a dictator known as the Shah. Who imposed the Shah upon us? When was the last time Iran has ever attacked a neighbor? Never. No one can ever point to any instance in when we have attacked our neighbors. Yet, the Zionists have attacked their neighbors 4 times now. I cannot even counting their invasion of Lebanon, and now their most recent invasion of Syria. Where is the justice here? How much longer will the United Nations allow an aggressor who has invaded his neighbor, who continues to show an aggressive stance, whose leader was illegitimately elected and is guilty of war crimes, to continue to operate without any condemnation? If the United Nations is not able to make a simple condemnation of such a horrific act, then where is its legitimacy at all?
Where indeed. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We appreciate your time here tonight. As always, thank you for tuning in, MIMUN.